Hello and welcome. In today's video we're going to take a look at this kit right here. This kit is from Whadda and it's the Voice Changer. Let's see here, it has a crazy name. WSAH171N. Yeah, that's a mouthful. It's a small little package. We're going to open it up and we're going to build it together and then we're going to turn it into a pedal. And then we're gonna see what it sounds like as a pedal. This is a voice changer to make your voice sound like a robot. So it's gonna be an interesting thing to see what your guitar, or in this case my guitar, sounds like as a voice changer. Now, before we start, we're also gonna do a comparison, because the Whadda kit is actually from the beginning a Wellman kit. Or at least this is what I've found out doing a little bit of looking around. This has basically replaced that. I'm not completely sure how things work over in Whadda and Wellman land, but it just seems like that there is some sort of thing going on where the kits are maybe the same or a little bit different. I can see from the front here that there is some sort of battery pack in this version, which the other one didn't have. So we'll see if we have to change voltage for this, which would most likely, at least I think so, affect the sound. How much it does, I don't know. It depends on how much the effect glitches and distorts and changes the tone of your guitar to begin with. It might not be easy to make that comparison, but we'll try. So yes, we'll start off by unboxing this and taking a look and seeing what you get when you buy the kit. And then we'll put it together, then we'll transform it into a pedal, and then we'll do a comparison. And then in next video, when you get to see this kit, we'll see if we can't modify it, if we can't change some things around and do some interesting changes to it. And my cat is screaming because it's way too cold outside. So wait a second and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. He is a very bored little cat. He loves to go outside and play, and it's winter and it's too cold for him. So yeah, here we have the kit now. Anyway, I like the packaging. It's, you know, cute and everything. Nice little box. Hopefully easy to open if I can. There we go. Yeah. Let's take a look. Okay, yeah. So here we have the battery pack. Everything lies very neatly in here, so that's nice. Some instructions and the PCB, all the points that you need to solder. Oh, there is a little thing there. We'll take a closer look at that at a moment. Here we have the parts. And yeah, okay. So these sorts of bags, they're like static something called bags, preventing things from like being damaged and stuff, especially when it's like being shipped and things like that. So that's nice to see that they've put them in those. I wasn't expecting anything less, but yeah. Okay, we have one of these, which means that this is not a 9-volt powered pedal. Or kit, maybe I should call it. It's not a pedal yet, but it will be. Which means we are going to have to use a buck converter or something else to change the power, because this is not 9-volt. This is like 4.5 volt, all in all. Here we have the instructions. And obviously I hope these are good and easy to follow along. Not just for my sake, but for all of our sakes. Okay, let's see here. Can I open this? It's upside down. Oh yeah. So we have, okay, there we have the first step. It's talking about like soldering, how you're supposed to get a little cone shape. That's good, because that's right. You feed the solder into the spot you want it. So if you need to learn how to solder, not only can you watch my video on how to solder, but you can also just follow the instructions here. They give you a pretty easy picture, you know, how to do it. And here we have a little code thing to show how to read the resistors. And here they show diodes. You put them in, you locate the marking on the part, and you locate the marking on the board, and that's how you put it in. And there we have the switches, and you know how the legs like clamp in, and there's the LED showing that the plus sign is for the longer leg, and a little switch as well. Okay, cool. let's open the board and take a look at that one and see what that looks like. Okay, and here we have all the numbering, and yeah. So for example, there is a part that is going to be labeled R2. I don't know what value that will be because I haven't looked at it, and that part goes in there. And it could be like a 10k or something for R2 or something. Let's open this bag up as well and take a look and see what we have here. I'll dump all of it out like this, even though maybe that's... Come on. A couple of resistors and a diode. And yeah, I like it when the kits tell us what value it is and it's just written on it. Some pedal kits, you'll just get that and you don't have to like either look up the coding. They gave you the way to do that, so that's fine. But I do like it when it's just written, because then you know it, you can just pop it in and you can just, you know, you don't have to do any work. Now I'm gonna have to take a look here and split them up and make sure I do this properly. And if you don't know what I mean with splitting them up, is this is obviously its own part, because it's not even a resistor, it's a diode. These two are their own part as well, and I can tell because they look the same. You can see they both have the same rings. This one is its own. Yep. So whatever this is, it's its own. Well, I'll take a look and see what it is later. And I'll cut them up like that. Just so that I know that, like, okay, if I figure out what this one is, I immediately also know that that's the same, you know, because they look the same. Here we have something. Can I see what it says? No, I can't. But what's good about these sort of things is, like, we have 3 of them. So wherever we're going to put them, we know that wherever those 3 go, 2 places are going to be the same, which is going to be these 2. So we can deduce, basically. We have a little ship, and it's a NE5532AP. So yeah, there's not much to say about that. Okay, I'm gonna just quickly add all these parts here. It's gonna be really easy, or at least I hope. So, because oh, wait a second. Did they did this in a convoluted way, I feel like. Or maybe they didn't, I don't know. Okay, so this one is the one with a black ring. If you look at the instructions here, and this is what I mean convoluted. So, one black ring, and that's a 0 ohm resistor. Which, I mean, it's true, but there we have it. And you can see R1. So, if we pulled off the little tabs here and we bend these legs a little like this, then we know this is a 0, and it goes into R1. So let's see, where is R1? There we have R1. We just push those legs through like so, and we just push it all the way down so it lies flush like that. I hope you can see that. You have the legs sticking out. Now, if the legs are sticking out a little bit to the side like this, then the part will like hold itself in place, which is nice, because then you don't have to worry about it falling as you're soldering it in place. And so now we can just add a little bit of solder to our tip and just push a little solder into this connection here and into this connection here. Come on. And there we go. Now we have like a little cone shape around the parts, similar to what they show on the picture. And then when it's cooled, which only takes like a half a second or something, you can cut off the legs. Now you can also cut the legs off once you've added all the parts. So yeah, I'm gonna speed through this and just add all the parts real quick, and when I come back we'll take a look at some other things, because there are a couple of parts here that we're not actually going to add to the board, because if we add them to the board then we are just going to have to unsolder them anyway, so we might as well not solder them in place to begin with. So let's see here. R2, R3, let's see if I can find them. Alright, so here we have the kit now. It's not completely built yet, but we are going to mod it from this place forward because we're not putting this kit together to be this thing. We're making it into a pedal. So the LED has its plus leg there. We're going to push it through the wrong side, like so. And I'm going to try to leave it pretty long, I think. Not like dramatically over long, but something like that, maybe. And yeah. I realized my mistake by putting it on top of itself. But there we have it. Here we go. In place. You can see it goes fairly quick. We are most likely gonna, replace this LED later. So I'm not gonna focus too much on it. But it is nice to have an LED. But everything is gonna go, this is gonna be the back that you see through the enclosure like this. So we want all the parts that are gonna stick out to be on that side. I hope that makes sense. Now, next thing here is we have the on-off switch right here. And here's the switch. And when it's in, it basically is flicked 2 positions, on and off. And depending on which side it is, those 2 legs are connected or those 2 legs are connected. So anything would ever be connected to the middle. Well, we are not going to have an on-off switch because it's going to be on the inside of the pedal. Now, you can solder it in place if you want to, but I feel like I might as well just save the LED, the switch for another build. If maybe for some reason I need it for something. Most likely it's never going to happen, but I'm going to do it the way that I think I should do it. And that is, I'm going to take one of the legs that I've cut off from one of the resistors, bend it into a little U like this, and just make a little jumper between where it says on the board and the middle. The next thing we need to do is we need to take some wire, and we're going to go with the red and black wire because that's what you use when you are a pro. You don't mix your colors. I know that there are people out there saying that only beginners need to color code their wires, but I think it's the other way around. I think if you're neat and you do things the right way, that's when you're professional. So we're gonna take a wire. I don't know how long I made these. I just cut a piece. It's about, what is that, like half my hand in length. It's better to make them a little bit too long than too short, because if they're too short, we're gonna have to replace them. Melt a little bit of solder onto the top of it so that it stiffens up and get hard and becomes like a little bit more workable, and also easier to solder in place, because if the wires are pre-tinned or tinned, as some of you say, then it's going to be easier to actually use it. We're going to replace the input and the output with wires, because the input is just the microphone. It's your voice coming in. So instead, we're just going to see if we can push these wires through. It's going to be a little fiddly because the holes are very tiny. We might have to open them up, which I will show you how to do if we have to, which I think we have to. Yeah, we're going to have to do it, but that's going to be good because then I'll show you how to do this. So let's see here. Here we have our two drill bits. One is a 1 mil and the other one is a 1.5 mil. And this one doesn't go in. So we're going to start with this one. Add it to our drill and we're going to line it up. This is a 1 mil drill bit, and slowly we're going to enlarge these holes. Go really slow. I'll do it in real time without speeding it up so you can see how slow I'm going. Real slow, and just slowly letting the drill just go in. I'm not pushing or anything. I'm just slowly opening this hole up a little bit. There we go. If you push the drill bit, this pad right here will most likely lift, and then we'll have to trace where those pad goes. Like for example here we can see that one goes over there, and that one you'll have to use the multimeter to find. I can show you that as well. Give me a sec. There we go, we get that one in, and we're getting this one in. Good. Okay, so I'm gonna just move my finger over the area like this just to feel it a little bit, and also remove the debris. I'm gonna take my red wire, dip it in some flux. I have it almost out of view, but there it is. The red is gonna be the positive, so push it through the plus sign. Just hold everything like this, then take a little bit of solder on your tip and melt it into place. And then we're gonna do the exact same thing here with the black wire. It goes through the minus because that's our ground. if you lift the board and it breaks, you can either visually look at it and go like, okay, well, I can clearly see that there's a trace in the board here that goes there. But you can also take your multimeter and go to continuity, which is like the best thing about a multimeter. And then you can just feel like, okay, where is this going? Okay, so the plus here would go there. So those two there would be your connections. Next thing we'll have to do, here we will have the connections for the switch right here. And if we take our multimeter, if we, for example, go to the LED, which is that leg, we should be able to find a ground. All on the side of the ground. So let's just take that one and feed our cable through here and press it down a little bit like so. And just melt a little bit of solder. There we go. There we have a ground. In most cases, I'm going to say, just to be safe, because there's always someone who's going to point out that there's something else going on. But in most cases, all points on ground will give you connection to each other. So if I hold it here, for example, and here, I get a connection. And if I hold it to the ground on the LED, now we are going to add the lead wire to the jack. So yeah, the input, it's stereo, but it's actually not stereo. This jack here is stereo. But if you use your multimeter, you'll notice that both those connections there, you can actually visibly see it on the board as well, but both those are the same, which means that right and left are the same. So I'm going to add this in here and solder it in place like that. So the only thing left, really, are these switches here. And the way these works is that they're basically bridging the connection between the legs on this side and on this side with each other when you press it. So we don't need all these 4 connections for what we're doing, because we're, changing things around. But what we do need is a couple of wires to put there instead. So I'm gonna add a couple of shorter cables that are black. I'm gonna see if I can, maybe. I'm gonna do my very best to try to cut them to be at least roughly the same length. There we go. Now I have all my wires. 6 wires, right? 3 black and 3 colored wires, which could be all red, but for the demonstration purpose of this video, let's make it that way. Okay, so I'm gonna flick my fingers, whatever, and when I come back, all the wires will be cut off a little bit and exposed. The inner wires, the copper wire that is inside, that is not copper. And they will be pretend. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. Right. So these under rows here, that like there, that like there, and that like there. They're all grounds. So let's just see if we can solder it in place. Okay. So let's see if we can add the wires. It's not looking pretty, but it's just gonna have to do. So I think the green is supposed to be on the bottom. There we go. And then yellow in the middle. There we go. And then red on top. If this matters is a completely different question. The red switch goes with the red wire. Dun 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 dun. So we have to put a little bit of solder on these just to make them flow together. Then come up here and just see if we can't press one leg in on each side. If you have helping hands, it would be helping you right here. All right, so here we have the kit right now. The only thing we need to do now is we need to add a buck converter and a jack. Okay, so someone asked me at some point if I could show how I do the whole buck converter thing to make it work for me the way it's supposed to. And so, yeah, here it is. Here I have a buck converter, and I have added the input jack for the DC. The black wire goes to the bigger leg right there, and the last leg on the opposite side is the lead. You got to connect it over here to the DC in. It says in plus and in minus on it. And then I just plug in my power, and then I've already soldered the wires that I need in place, but you can do that after if you want to. You need a screwdriver. For this one, I used this. So what you do is, and this is a little fiddly, and this is why I did this before filming, but what you do is you take your prongs. You move it over to 9 volt. Right there, I have a little symbol says 9 volt, and you should have that too. That lets you check batteries, for example. So here I have a battery. I can put it minus to plus and see this is actually like an 8.8. So it's not really a 9 volt battery, but it's an 8.8. But that's, you know, it's never going to be exact. So I take the black one, which is the ground, to the minus, which is another way of saying ground, and the plus will lead here, and then I get a reading. And most likely on your multimeter you'll get like 9 point blah blah blah, you know. And then you just hold it there, and you just hold these in place there. It's fiddly. I had to like hold them like this. And you put your little screwdriver in there, and you just adjust this and move it about until you find 4.5. I've put this to 4.48 or something like that. What was the reading? 4.46. So yeah, somewhere close. The best thing is if you're a little under the value and not over it. You don't want to do that. So now we can push these wires, and it has holes here so you can push it in and do a little loop-de-loop thing, but I don't think we need to do that on this. So let's just right. There are the markings. Hope you can see them. Something like that. Now, if we plug in power, it should start up. Let's see if it does. It does. I hope you can see the LED is lighting up. We don't have an on-off switch, so it will just automatically start, and then we can start pressing these. And yeah, okay. So that's the board. Now, let's turn this into a pedal. First thing we need to do is find something that we feel will fit this. Alright, so here is the pedal right now, and I went with this sort of channel switcher, is that what it's called? I think it is. Enclosure, because as you'll see, I already have this sort of pedal built, and I wanted them to be a little bit different. So yeah, here we have a bunch of, like a mess of cables. So to help myself, I'm plugging something in to this side here so that I know that that's where my guitar goes in. That's the input. Yeah, and here we have the switch. So the input is the microphone. Here is the microphone, and what we need to do is we need to first strip these two back, pre-tin these connections. This one will go to the upper connection here, and its corresponding ground will go to the jack here. Then we'll take a look here. Already created a mess for myself. Let's see here. Here we have the output, and then this one gets connected up here, and this one gets connected to this other jack's ground over here. Now we need 2 wires. I'll go with red. Let's see, from the jack to the switch we need about that much. Okay, so now 1 wire needs to get connected to this leg right here in the middle and solder it in place. There we go. And the other one gets pulled through this mess up here, where it can get connected to the positive of the jack. And then we'll do the opposite or the same, depending on how you look at things, on this side. And the positive is the one that is not connected to the ring in the middle, because that's the ground. Here we have the buck converter, switching the jack because it was easier to just screw in a jack and have it be where it's supposed to be than messing around. The wiring is a little wonky in here. I don't know who did this, but it's a mess. I'm obviously joking. I know I'm the one who did it. Here I have some foam back double side tape, which I'm gonna stick down here, like so. And then I'm gonna, can I get in there and peel it? I'm gonna stick this buck converter down to it. It will be enough of a bridge so that it doesn't touch the enclosure. And then here, now I need to take this wire here that is the positive. It needs to go into the middle leg here, like so. And then I need a new wire, and I'm gonna replace the black one entirely because it broke off on both ends, and so I think that's a sign that it's a little bit short. So from the top there, I'm gonna stick this through, or at least try to. I'm gonna pull this to the positive, just here, and I'm gonna get myself some black wire. So I'm just gonna melt this together here. Add that wire there. Pull this one up here to the ground. Melt them together. There's the LED. Yes, everything works. Okay, so basically now we can close it, except this flimsy little thing here that I thought would be able to hold this LED because it was holding an LED before I did this crazy thing to it. I don't think it's going to be able to hold the LED. So I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to check and see if I have another holder. Okay, I'm back. I couldn't actually find a ring that would work, so I drilled out the hole a little bit. It's actually a little crooked, which is strange, but you know, it's quirkiness of the pedal. We're just gonna have to live with it. I had to put down a dab of super glue, which I don't like to do. But anyway, there it is. And I just want to show you that it works, because basically what we're doing is we're splitting the power with the switch, just like we're splitting the signal from the two jacks either into the pedal or out. So the buck converter will light up, as you can see in there somewhere. And if I press this, it turns on. Now I think it's kind of funny how it looks orange, but it turns red. I don't know. Give me a sec to just screw this on and be careful to not, bridge any connections. And we'll talk about this pedal and do a demo. Okay, so here is the pedal now, and we're gonna jump into a sound demo. But before we do a sound demo, I quickly just want to do sort of a build quality demo. Because, this is a DIY channel. I feel like the building of the pedal is a part of the whole thing here. So here I have the old kit. I made a pedal out of that way before I even started making videos on the channel. It was one of my first things that I did. Had lots of fun. So there is a little bit of difference here. First of all, this one has 4 knobs. This one has 3. This one, which you will notice when I play it, has clipping diodes in it. I made them into the eyes way back when I did this, because I thought it was funny, like a broken robot making weird crazy sounds. One eye is glitching out, The other one is just the bypass. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is there is definitely differences here. This one is a smaller kit. This one is a bigger kit. This one takes up almost the entire pedal. This one fits in here. Obviously, I gotta say, fitting in here was kind of difficult. Had I gone with smaller switches and maybe use these, I could have easily fitted it into one of these boxes, which, you can tell that there is a difference in size, or at least I hope you can tell. If you can't, I'm sorry to tell you, but you need to go and see the eye doctor. That was my British impression, just so you know. Pretty proud of it. If I could, I suppose if I could go back in time, I might have put it into one of these. It's the same size box. It would have fitted perfectly in here. You have to understand it. The kit is basically the size of this. It's a little bigger, but you can tell. It would have had a lot of room. So if you feel like you want to do what we're going to do in the next time you get to see this pedal, which is trying to mod it, maybe you want to add some switches and things to it. I don't know, but maybe then you want to put it in a bigger box to make things easier for yourself. This one is a 9 volt. And this one is a 4.5 volts. So there is a difference there. What I'm trying to say basically is there are different pedals or different kits. One is to replace the old one, so most likely they think that they've improved on it and made it better. But what those changes actually are and what they mean for us turning them into pedals, we're gonna take a listen to in a moment. When it comes to putting the kit together, obviously the instructions are basically the same in both of the kits. I don't really remember this one because it's like 10 years old or something like that by now, maybe even more. But if you've never built anything before, these instructions are very simple and easy to follow and you won't have an issue. And that's why I didn't film every step of me putting in all the parts, because you don't need a video for that. What you need a video for is the modifications that we do afterwards. The kit is a little bit more fiddly to make. So, I don't see that as a plus. I kind of see that as a bad thing, because if this is supposed to be someone's first experience soldering and putting a kit of any kind together, then it being fiddly and hard to reach in and solder points, then that's not good. I think it could easily be fixed by just moving some of the solder points a little bit and giving the person a little bit more room. If this is not your first soldering, I don't think you're gonna have that many problems, unless you have maybe problems with your eyesight or something like that. But if you don't, I don't think you're gonna have problems. I noticed that I felt like it was a little bit close. If you're new here to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. No, but also, if you're new to soldering and you haven't done that before, maybe build something else before and come back to this one. I'm not saying that to be discouraging, but I'm saying that because I think if this was my first thing to build, I would struggle. And I have a couple of videos. I start every year actually off with a build that is something that I think can be someone's very first thing. I would suggest maybe something else. There are also pedal kits that you can buy that are just pedals. You don't have to turn something into a pedal. They are usually easier to solder together than this was. And I'm just talking about this, the fiddliness of it. But anyway, that's it. Now we're gonna change things around a little bit and do a little bit of demo. I'm gonna play both these pedals. I'm gonna play this one first to show that off a little bit, and then I'm gonna play this one and do a little bit of comparison. And then I'll be back and tell you what I think about the sound and changes in sound, if there are any. We'll see. This is gonna be the first time I hear them, just like it's the first time you hear them watching the video, unless you've already built these kits obviously on your own. So that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna use this SM57 to record it. I'm gonna mic up my amp that I have in the background right here, just give you some sounds. And I'm gonna play this guitar right here, which some of you might remember. It's my Harley Benton kit challenge guitar that I made in May, I think it was. I'm gonna stay on the neck pickup, and I'm not gonna use the tone or volume or the phase switch or the kill switch or anything. I'm just gonna go neck pickup out, so that you know that. For everything, I'm gonna just play a little bit. And yeah, we'll see what it sounds like, and then after that I'll be back. So yeah, let's jump into the demo and see what happens. Well, there you have it. A weird kind of sound demo thing. I don't know. Funny thing, I had to switch amp because this one gave up on me mid recording. So I don't know. Either I'll take a look and see what the hell happened, or maybe it's time to get a new amp for demoing things. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. Do you have any good idea for an amp that could be like a ground foundation, sort of everyone knows what this sound is? I don't want it to be something super expensive because I don't have money, and also, you know, neither do you. I don't want to demo with, I don't know, a vintage plexi or something. Anyway, what do I think? Honestly, I'm a little disappointed for two reasons. First of all, this one doesn't track very well. I don't know if you could tell, but when I was playing the higher notes, it started like sort of cutting out a lot, and it didn't sound that nice. Obviously, these are kind of weird effects, not the most normal things, but they should still track somewhat decent. Now, I'm gonna tell you something, and maybe this is something I should have done instead. Hindsight is 24/7 or whatever they say. This one, I mean, I've never played this one before, but this one, it's a lot better on bass. Like, it's definitely more suited for bass, so maybe I should have done this demo with a bass. At some point I'm going to play this with a bass and check it out, you know? It's not going to be this week, because I don't have time to play bass right now. Anyway, yeah, it's just, this one, it just works better as a pedal. This one, out of the box, not that good. The other reason is, out of the box right now, it turns itself off. I don't know if you noticed it, I think you did, because I was messing around with it. It turns itself off, and I have to sort of mess around and turn it on and off and unplug. So I'm gonna take a look and see if I did a mistake, if I wired something up wrong. Maybe I should remove that one ground wire, for example. I'm gonna take a look. But anyway, I'm gonna do it after this video, so here will be like a disclaimer in between my hands here if I made a mistake or if I didn't make a mistake. I'm gonna try to figure it out, and it will just be written here like I did something. But either way, I understand that they removed this one, because I don't know if a lot of you could actually hear the subtle difference that one does, honestly. So I can understand if they went to a 3 controller, but this one just felt like louder and more open, which maybe it doesn't make sense, because the other one felt like it was more tracking better and making more expression in its sounds. Obviously, some of these effects are really out there, so the way that you are able to express yourself is very limited with these pedals. But anyway, I'm gonna end the video here. I hope you're not disappointed. Change battery. Anyway, I'm gonna do that, and then we'll be back to this one and see if we can't figure out how to make it into a good pedal. Because right now I feel like it's not a good pedal, but I don't want to discourage you. If you like to get the kit and experiment with me and help me out, I would appreciate it. And then you can write comments below so that I don't have to do the thinking of what I need to add or change. Maybe I need to add an LM board into this one too, to just push it further. But that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you liked this video. I hope you liked the pedals. I mean, you can't not like this one. Look at it, it's so cool. I'm going to do something with this to make it look cool too. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to press the like button and tell me in the comments below that you liked it, because yeah, it's always nice to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think of the pedals, and yeah, I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Until next time, don't forget to stay awesome and cool. And if you feel like having a weird crazy pedal that does a bunch of weird crazy sound and that you can't really control, build this weird thing with me, and I think it's fun. And I think it's enjoyable, and I think you're gonna think so too. You get what you get, but sometimes the getting is good. That's the deal with these sorts of pedals. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But for now, take care, play guitar, have fun, and eat pudding.